Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Annalisa and this is going to be a writing video. I've been doing writing vlogs lately, but I was without a camera for about 2 weeks this month. I decided to just do a report on my writing for this month instead. Also, this is a new camera. Bear with me for the next couple of weeks while I figure out how to use its settings and like whether I need a microphone or not. I'm thinking I probably will need a microphone because this camera needs to be farther away from me because of like how big the screen is. Because when I sit at the same distance from me as my other camera, it was like it was like this. So maybe that's a setting I need to fiddle with, or maybe that's just the way the camera is. I don't know yet. I've done quite a bit of like looking up things about this camera so far, but I am still very much a beginner with it, so the videos might be a bit weird looking. Also, I can't tell from here whether I'm in focus or not. I think I am. But also apologies if this video is blurry. Also, if I'm looking off to the side again like I used to do 2 cameras ago, that's because this camera, like that camera, has the viewfinder, I think it's called, on the side, which it's a lot harder to pretend you're looking down the lens and not the viewfinder when it's on the side, whereas with my camera where it's on the top, I could look at it the whole time and you couldn't tell that I wasn't making eye contact with the lens. So I'm gonna try to get used to that as well. Also, I did my hair, and I think it goes well with the spring theme of today, which is I redid my background for spring, and I did a little makeup that's green and pink to go with my hair and to go with, you know, green things growing and blooming in shades of pink. So about my writing, I am writing a book called A Deal Between Dragons. It is a romance. I was originally thinking it would be an erotica because I was using this as just a sort of way to explore whether I would find any joy in writing that kind of genre. But ultimately I decided I wanted to work on this one first and work on some of my other stories that had been a priority a little bit later on. And so I had kind of a deadline because I booked an editor, and so I kind of came to crunch time and I was like, I had written one spicy scene and then I went on to writing a bunch of other scenes that were totally not spicy, and when it came time to write the next spicy scene, I was like, I don't want to do this. So I ended up going with just the one spicy scene for the whole book, which is more standard for a non-erotica romance, and I might explore spicy times between these two characters as some kind of like extra for like a Patreon or a newsletter, bonus scene type content. But yeah, that's the conclusion I kind of came to this month as I was coming down to the wire of I needed to either write these scenes or give up on them. So that's the decision I came to. I also went back and when I was editing the first spicy scene that I wrote, I vagued it down so that it was a little less explicit on some things, and I have found that I really enjoy both ways that it's written, but I think that I would enjoy writing in the more vague terms. And if I ever do a breakdown of the pre-edited version versus the edited version, I can show you what that looks like if anyone is interested. Probably not on YouTube because they wouldn't like me using those terms, but maybe in like, again, a newsletter or some kind of blog post. So that was the major decision that I came to this month. I also ended up having the book be a little shorter than I was originally intending. I was aiming for 50,000 words and I've ended up at 46,000 approximately, a little bit more I think. And I'm pretty much okay with that. There are a few scenes that I think I might need to add to like flesh things out, things that I came up with later in the book that would make more sense if they were connected to smaller vignettes earlier in the book. I think I might have to add some scenes like that. So it might end up fleshing out to 48,000 or something. But I'm overall okay with that word count because I knew that this one was not going to be long and drawn out because of the amount of story I had to tell. And because I am self-publishing this one, there's no like pressure to be a certain word count because publishers tend to like to have any things fit a certain word count to fit a certain genre, which makes sense, but sometimes that's not the length of story that is needing to be told. But lots of self-published books seriously vary in word length. And I have really enjoyed books that are about 250 pages, which I think is about this word count. It depends on the font size that is being used, of course. But yeah, I really enjoyed books that length, so I think that it makes sense that I would write a book that is that length. I got to the epilogue and wrote a bit of it and then stopped writing that and went back and started editing. So I've been editing for about a week, and it's March 28th today, and I just finished the final bit of the epilogue because I made that decision about it not being a spicy scene finally 2 days ago. So I am officially finished with the first draft, and I'm going through and editing to basically make it a second draft before sending it to my editor. Although the changes are mostly small enough that it's more like an edited first draft than an actual separate second draft. I've added in a few of the things that I know need to be added based on conclusions I came to later in the book, but there are still some things that like I'll probably want to talk to my editor about. Yeah, I have this idea that I should probably put this back here, but I think that that's okay to talk about once I've actually sent it to the editor and we can go back and forth about that. It ended up coming out to 20 chapters, between 2,000 and 2,500 words each, except for a couple that were extra short because I felt there needed to be a break there. Most of them are, every other one is the perspective of one of the main characters. So we have two main characters named Fura and Canis. Usually it's a Fura chapter, then a Canis chapter, and back and forth like that. I've been very stressed this month. I've had a lot of my stress has been hanging over me of I need to get this done. And so now that that's done and several of the things that I had to do in person are done with, I'm feeling much better, and hopefully the added pain that I manifested in my body because of the stress will now go away. I also happen to have an idea for another story based on a bit of dialogue that's been bouncing around in my head for a year or so. I had a more fleshed out idea for that and have written about 2,000 words of it. And I'm very excited about that. So I might start working on that in April, although I would also like to go back and work on my Empire story. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to know about your writing, also how your March is going, and are you looking forward to spring and the flowers and the greening up? I very much am. And if you'd like to leave an emoji, how about a flower or plant? And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!